Let me open with a question that might make you uncomfortable, but it might also change your life. What if the reason you don't feel confident yet is because you haven't done the work yet? Most people are waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel motivated, waiting to feel proud. But pride is not the starting point. Pride is the reward. The truth is simple and powerful. You don't work because you feel good. You feel good because you work. Here's the problem in today's world. We've been taught to chase feelings instead of results. We want motivation before movement. We want confidence before commitment. But successful people don't operate that way. High performers understand a law that never fails. Results create emotions, not the other way around. You don't wait for courage to act. Action produces courage. You don't wait for clarity. Clarity comes after you move. Let me give you a hook you should write down. Feelings are followers, not leaders. If you let your feelings lead, your life will shrink. If you let discipline lead, your life will expand. The people winning in life are not more talented than you. They're more disciplined than you. They decided to work first, even when it was boring, even when it was hard, even when nobody was clapping. Another hook. Unseen work creates undeniable results. Nobody applauds the early mornings, the late nights, the lonely grind, the quiet sacrifices. But that's exactly where greatness is built. Most people quit in the dark because they don't see results fast enough. But champions understand something others don't. The harvest always comes after the planting. If you quit before the harvest, you robbed yourself. See, pride is not something you chase. Pride is something you earn. You earn it when you keep promises to yourself. You earn it when you do what you said you would do, especially when you don't feel like it. And here's another truth. Self-respect grows when excuses die. Every time you choose work over comfort, you're building a version of yourself you can trust. Let me challenge you with this. Stop asking, how do I feel? And start asking, what needs to be done? Feelings change, purpose doesn't. Emotions are temporary, discipline compounds. When you focus on the work, confidence shows up uninvited. When you focus on consistency, motivation chases you. Let me ask you something. How many times have you waited for the perfect feeling before taking action? How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow, I'll start when I feel ready, I'll start when I'm motivated? The truth is that perfect feeling is a mirage. It doesn't exist. Life doesn't hand out success in alignment with how you feel. It hands it out in alignment with what you do. And here's the first hook you need to understand. Emotions follow action. They don't lead it. Most people get this completely backward. They believe that feeling confident will make them successful, that feeling motivated will make them productive, that feeling ready will make them effective. But that's not how life works. Look around. The people achieving massive results are not waiting for a burst of motivation. They're doing what they need to do, even when the feelings aren't there. The feelings come afterward. Action is the spark that ignites the fire. Emotion is the warmth you feel once the fire is burning. Think about it this way. You cannot feel your way to results, but you can act your way to them. You cannot wait for courage to start. Courage is created through doing. Every step you take, even the small ones, begins to generate confidence. Every time you follow through when it's uncomfortable, your emotions adjust to reality, not the other way around. This is a powerful law that most people ignore because it's uncomfortable and counterintuitive. We want to feel good first, then act. Winners act first, then feel good as a natural consequence. Here's another hook. The delay between action and emotion is where most people quit. They don't see immediate results. They don't feel the instant surge of motivation, and they convince themselves they're not ready. That is the trap. Let me tell you, if you can push past that moment of doubt and discomfort, you position yourself ahead of 90% of the world. While they wait for feelings to show up, you are building momentum, building results, and creating the foundation for real confidence. Now let's make this real. Imagine a person trying to start a business. They think, I'll begin when I feel ready, when I have the perfect plan, when I have the energy. But guess what? None of those things guarantee success. The only guarantee comes from doing, from taking that first call, sending that first email, making that first sale attempt, even when fear and doubt are screaming in the background. Every single action compounds, every step forward builds clarity. Every effort produces results that feed back into motivation. Here's a hook you need to internalize. Success does not ask how you feel, it demands what you do. You might feel tired, uncertain, or even afraid. That's normal. The world doesn't pause because your emotions are misaligned. The opportunity is waiting for action, and only action will create the confidence and pride you're looking for. The moment you start acting, even imperfectly, something magical happens. Feelings begin to follow. Confidence grows, excitement builds, and motivation, the thing you were waiting for, starts showing up. Not as a precondition, but as a reward. And that is the secret many never grasp. You don't need the feeling to start. You need to start to get the feeling. Action is the currency of success. Waiting for the perfect feeling is debt that never gets paid. When you understand that, your mindset shifts. You stop asking, do I feel ready? And you start asking, what can I do right now? That one shift separates the dreamers from the doers, the spectators from the champions. Most people make a huge mistake when they rely on motivation to drive their success. They wake up in the morning and ask themselves, do I feel like it today? Or am I inspired enough to push forward? The problem with this approach is that motivation is fleeting. It's like the weather. Some days it's sunny and strong, other days it's cloudy or storms roll in. If you wait for the perfect emotional climate to act, you will never reach your destination. Here's the hook. Motivation is unreliable, but discipline is unstoppable. Discipline is not a feeling, it's a decision. It's the choice to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Motivation is a spark, discipline is the engine. Sparks can light a fire, but without an engine to sustain it, that fire dies. Champions don't rely on sparks, they build engines. Every day they show up, every day they execute, every day they push, even when the initial excitement has faded. That's the difference between temporary effort and lasting results. Think about it this way. Anyone can be motivated for a few hours, but how many people maintain consistent progress for years? The world is full of talented, motivated individuals who never reached their potential because they stopped when the motivation disappeared. Talent and motivation can get you started, but only discipline keeps you going until you finish. Here's another hook. Discipline bridges the gap between dreams and reality. Dreams are easy to have, results are hard to earn. Discipline is what makes that transformation possible. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired, if you're stressed, or if you're overwhelmed. Discipline doesn't wait for a perfect moment or a perfect mindset. Discipline moves forward regardless of circumstances. That's why it's far more reliable than motivation. Motivation may push you when you're feeling good, but discipline pushes you when it hurts. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is eternal in its effect. People who understand this don't plan around feelings, they pull and around actions. They schedule discipline, not mood swings. Let's make this practical. A person trying to build wealth, health, or influence will have days when they feel inspired and days when they don't. If they rely solely on motivation, they will stop at every obstacle. If they rely on discipline, they push through the uncomfortable, the boring, and the challenging tasks that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Discipline becomes a habit, a lifestyle, and eventually an identity. It creates momentum that motivation can never sustain. Here's another hook to internalize. Discipline compounds over time in a way motivation never can. Every discipline choice builds upon the last. Every day you do what's necessary, even when you don't feel like it, you create a pattern of success. It's like putting bricks in a wall, one brick at a time, consistent, steady, intentional. Motivation may get you to place a brick or two, but without discipline, the wall never stands. The truth most people avoid is that feelings are irrelevant when results are required. The most successful people in the world don't wake up every day feeling motivated. They wake up every day committed. Commitment creates action. Action creates results, and results eventually feed emotions like pride and confidence. Motivation is a passenger. Discipline is the driver. When you make discipline your driver, nothing can stop you. Here's the critical mindset shift. Stop asking yourself if you feel like it, and start asking yourself what needs to be done. Stop chasing temporary bursts of excitement and start building unshakable habits. Discipline doesn't need inspiration, it generates outcomes. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is predictable. That's why if you master discipline, you will always be ahead of 90% of the people who wait to feel ready, wait to be inspired, and wait to be motivated enough to act. Let me tell you something most people will never admit out loud. The world only celebrates what it sees. But success is built in what nobody sees. The long hours, the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the grind that feels lonely and thankless. That is where the foundation of greatness is laid. Most people quit in the shadows because they don't get instant validation. Here's the hook you need to understand. If you're only working for recognition, you will never reach your potential. True results are built in silence. Success is not flashy at the start. It doesn't knock on your door announcing itself. It creeps in quietly, compounded by every deliberate action you take when nobody is watching. The problem is most people are distracted by what is visible, by the applause, by the likes, by the external approval. But here's the truth. The applause comes after the work, never before. The work you do when no one is paying attention is the work that eventually produces the life everyone admires. Here's another hook. What you do in private determines what you get in public. Nobody wakes up famous, wealthy, or respected without first putting in the unseen hours. The person who looks effortless on stage, in the boardroom, or in the spotlight has spent countless days grinding when no one cared, when it was uncomfortable, and when the results weren't immediate. The world only sees the tip of the iceberg, but the massive foundation beneath it is where the real power lies. Think about it this way. Planting a seed in the soil doesn't immediately produce a tree. The growth happens out of sight, underground, in ways you cannot see, but it is real. And one day the seed bursts through the surface and everyone marvels at what has grown. That is exactly how success works. The unseen work you commit to today, the preparation, the learning, the late night efforts, the countless repetitions, compounds into visible results tomorrow. Here's a hook that separates winners from dreamers. If you are only willing to work when it's easy, visible, or fun, why? You will never experience extraordinary results. The real value lies in the labor nobody applauds. It's in the discipline of showing up when everyone else is distracted, in the consistency of executing even when it's boring, in the commitment to grind when there's no immediate payoff. That is the power of unseen work. It builds the momentum that unstoppable success rides on. Most people make the mistake of quitting too soon because they are looking for instant gratification. They want the reward before the effort, the recognition before the results. But here's the reality. Success is a process, not an event. It rewards patience, persistence, and persistence in unseen work. Every hour you invest in learning, growing, and perfecting your craft in private builds a reservoir of skill, confidence, and power that will eventually manifest publicly. Another truth you need to embrace is this. Results are the visible proof of invisible work. The late nights, the rejections, the failures, the discipline, the sacrifice, those are the unseen elements that no one applauds, but that make victory inevitable. People love to celebrate success, but few are willing to respect the process behind it. If you understand this principle and commit to it, you gain a level of leverage over everyone else who wants shortcuts and immediate validation. Here's the critical mindset shift. Don't work for applause, work for excellence. Don't chase visibility, chase mastery. Don't wait for validation, create value in private that eventually commands recognition. The work you do out of sight sets you apart from the crowd. The more invisible the effort, the more undeniable the result. And that is the law of unseen work. The seeds you plant in silence produce the fruits everyone sees later. Most people misunderstand confidence. They think confidence is something you either have or you don't. They wait for that perfect moment, when life feels easy, when everything aligns, when they feel ready to step into greatness. But that's not how confidence works. Confidence is not a feeling, it is a product of action, and the product of repeated action is consistency. Here's a hook you need to understand. Confidence is earned through doing what you said you would do over and over, even when you don't feel like it. Every great achiever you've ever admired did not wake up one day fully confident. They became confident because they showed up consistently long before anyone else noticed. The world only sees the results, the polished performances, the success. What it doesn't see is the countless mornings they got out of bed when it was uncomfortable, the countless mistakes they corrected in private, and the countless times they refused to quit when quitting was easier. That repetition, that relentless consistency is the foundation of unshakable confidence. Here's a hook that separates winners from the crowd. The more you honor your commitments to yourself, the more unbreakable your confidence becomes. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when no one is watching, you are building an internal trust system. Confidence is not born from success alone. It is born from reliability, from proving to yourself that you are capable of showing up regardless of circumstances. Think about it. Someone can study for a day and feel confident temporarily, but real confidence comes from consistency. Someone can go to the gym once and feel good about it, but true confidence in their health, strength, or appearance comes from showing up every day repeatedly over months and years. That is the law of consistency. Short-term effort produces temporary confidence. Long-term consistency produces unshakable confidence. Here's another hook. Confidence grows in the gap between discomfort and commitment. Every time you push past excuses, every time you follow through when you don't feel like it, you are depositing credibility in yourself. T. Hose deposits accumulate silently until one day you realize that fear no longer controls your decisions, that hesitation no longer dictates your actions. That is the power of consistent effort. It transforms uncertainty into unshakable self-assurance. Most people fail to understand this because they chase feelings instead of results. They wait for motivation, for inspiration, for the perfect mental state. But feelings are temporary, fleeting, and unreliable. Consistency, on the other hand, compounds. Every action, every follow-through, every small victory builds the invisible architecture of confidence. It is a slow process, but it is unstoppable if you commit to it. The key is to focus not on how you feel today, but on what you do today. And to repeat that relentlessly. Here's a truth that will change your perspective. Confidence is not created in isolation. It is forged in the crucible of repeated action. Each day you honor your word. Each day you complete the tasks you set for yourself. Each day you do what others won't. You are building an inner authority that cannot be shaken by circumstances or opinion. Consistency transforms fear into certainty, doubt into clarity, and hesitation into action. The final hook to grasp is this: confidence is a byproduct of commitment, not comfort. You cannot wait to feel courageous, capable, or strong. You create courage, capability, and strength through disciplined, consistent action. It is not the result of occasional effort, but the sum of repeated effort over time. If you master consistency, you master confidence. If you show up daily, you will eventually step into a version of yourself that no obstacle, no setback, and no challenge can intimidate. Most people are stuck in a trap they don't even realize exists. They live in comfort zones, carefully curated spaces where risk is minimized, fear is avoided, and effort is optional. And while comfort feels safe, it is also the silent thief of potential. Here's a hook you need to hear. The more you cling to comfort, the further you push your destiny away. Comfort is cozy, but it is also deceptive. It whispers lies that make you believe you are progressing, when in reality, you are standing still. Think about it. The person who is achieving massive success is rarely comfortable. They embrace challenges, take risks, and do what others avoid. They push through uncertainty, face discomfort, and operate in spaces that most people run from. Comfort delays action. Comfort delays growth. Comfort delays the very life you were meant to create. The harsh truth is that your dreams will not accommodate your comfort. Your destiny does not wait for you to feel safe. It calls for courage, for sacrifice, for bold decisions. Here's a hook that will wake you up. Every time you choose ease over effort, you are choosing mediocrity over greatness. Comfort feels good temporarily, but it robs you of long-term fulfillment. It keeps you small while the world rewards those who are willing to stretch, to risk, to endure the temporary pain that precedes permanent gain. The life you want, the freedom, the influence, the wealth, the impact cannot be built in a space where everything feels easy. Look at the way success is created. Every entrepreneur, every athlete, every leader who stands at the top has paid a price in discomfort. They have sacrificed sleep, faced rejection, endured criticism, and persisted when most would quit. Their comfort zones were broken repeatedly in the pursuit of something greater. Here's another hook. Discomfort is the currency of destiny. The more you are willing to invest, the greater your return. Most people avoid this truth because it is uncomfortable to hear. They want shortcuts, quick fixes, and easy paths. But shortcuts often lead to dead ends. Easy paths rarely lead to greatness. The reality is that life rewards the bold, the persistent, and the resilient, those who are willing to step into uncertainty and embrace the challenges that others flee from. If you never step out of comfort, you will never experience the extraordinary. Here's the mindset shift you need. Comfort is not the absence of effort, it is the absence of growth. If you want to create a legacy, build wealth, or become a person others admire, you must be willing to feel uncomfortable on a daily basis. You must be willing to do what is difficult, to push past fear, and to act even when the path is uncertain. The discomfort you endure today is the foundation of the life you will enjoy tomorrow. Another hook to remember. Discomfort is temporary. Regret is permanent. People who cling to comfort may feel safe now, but years later, they are haunted by opportunities missed, potential wasted, and dreams abandoned. The temporary sting of effort, risk, and challenge is far less painful than a lifetime of what-ifs. Those who step into discomfort consistently are the ones who achieve, who grow, and who leave a mark on the world. Here's a truth few admit. Comfort delays destiny more than failure ever could. Failure teaches lessons, builds resilience, and creates growth. Comfort teaches nothing except stagnation. If you want to break through, if you want to create an extraordinary life, you must embrace the discomfort that success demands. You must be willing to operate in spaces that feel uncertain, challenging, and even intimidating. That is the only path to your destiny. The final hook to internalize every step outside your comfort zone is a step toward the life you are meant to live. Avoiding discomfort keeps you small, but facing it boldly builds you into someone capable of handling whatever life throws your way. Comfort is a slow killer of potential, but courage and action are the architects of destiny. Most people misunderstand pride. They believe they must feel proud before they take action, that validation must come first, or that recognition is a prerequisite for effort. The truth is exactly the opposite. Pride is not a starting point. It is a byproduct of your commitment, your discipline, and your work ethic. Here's a hook you need to understand. You don't earn pride by waiting to feel worthy. You earn pride by delivering results when no one is watching. Many people get stuck because they want instant gratification. They want applause, compliments, and validation before they even begin. But life doesn't work that way. Life rewards action, effort, and persistence, not feelings. Pride is the reward for those who show up, who do the work, who follow through even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or unseen. The moment you understand that pride is earned rather than expected, you gain a powerful advantage over the masses. Think about it like this. The person who builds a business, writes a book, or masters a skill does not wake up one day feeling proud. They wake up each day, commit to their tasks, put in the effort, and persist through challenges. The pride comes after the work, often unexpectedly. That is why so many fail. They are chasing pride instead of producing it. Here's another hook. If you chase pride, you will never catch it. If you chase excellence and consistency, pride will chase you. Pride is built in the small, unnoticed actions. It is in the extra hour you put into preparation when everyone else goes home. It is in the disciplined choices you make when no one is watching. It is in the resilience you demonstrate after failure, the humility to keep learning, and the courage to continue when giving up feels easier. Every action you take that honors your word and aligns with your purpose deposits pride into your character. Every time you resist shortcuts and embrace effort, you create a version of yourself worthy of admiration. Here's a hook that will challenge your thinking. Pride is earned in discomfort, not comfort. The world does not hand out pride for easy decisions or effortless work. Real pride comes when you act with integrity, when you push past excuses, when you deliver results in spite of fear, doubt, and opposition. Every time you take the path of effort instead of ease, you are building an internal pride that no external opinion can take away. Most people fail to understand that pride is a consequence, not a prerequisite. They wait for feelings of self-worth to start moving, to take risks, or to pursue opportunities. But feelings are unreliable and fleeting. Discipline, consistency, and action are what create lasting results and ultimately real pride. Pride is not given. It is earned through the mastery of your craft, the pursuit of your goals, and the honoring of your commitments. Another truth that separates high achievers from dreamers. When you focus on results and value creation instead of recognition, pride becomes inevitable. The more effort you invest in doing what matters, the more you will naturally feel proud of your accomplishments. Pride does not require validation from others. It is the internal acknowledgement that you have honored yourself and your purpose. Here's a hook to drive it home. Stop waiting to feel proud to act. Start acting to feel proud. Every time you work first and postpone the expectation of praise, you are creating an inner authority that cannot be shaken by criticism, envy, or doubt. Pride is a reflection of the work you have completed, the integrity you have maintained, and the courage you have displayed. It is the reward for showing up, following through, and refusing to settle for less than your best. The final truth is simple but profound. Pride is the reward, not the requirement. When you commit to action, embrace discipline, and focus on producing results, pride will follow naturally. It is the fruit of effort, the validation of persistence, and the inevitable consequence of excellence. And here's the closing truth I want you to carry with you. Work first, feel proud later. Not because life is easy, but because your future deserves effort. Not because it feels good today, but because it will feel incredible tomorrow. Do the work when nobody is watching, and one day everyone will see the results. So don't wait for pride to move you. Move first and let pride catch up.